Do you remember being forced to hold it in on long car trips as a child? Your rebellious spirit would insist to your parents that no, you did not have to go to the toilet. And you would be strapped into your metal transport coffin for a 5-hour drive to the holiday park. Yes, you would gleefully accept the Capri Suns being handed back to you. You would, like the glutton you are, tan fruit shoot after fruit shoot, the apple and blackcurrant dripping down your chin until a funny feeling would creep into your lower gut. You would ask your dad when the next stop was, innocuous enough so as to not arouse suspicion. But Dad has a schedule, and by hell or high water, you will be in a ball pit while he has a pint by 4 p.m. No time for stopping. You fiddle and squirm in your seat, trying to make the feeling subside. You tell him, Dad, please, I need to use the toilet. And he says, you'll have to hold it, we're nearly there. And then you say, Dad, I'm going to pee myself. And he would say, not in my fucking car you won't, hold it. Until, eventually, you hit a speed bump. And with the crashing down of the car from a mere 3-inch apex comes the end of all things. The floodgates open. Your Superman pants get soaked, your dad swears, your mum cries, your siblings try to crawl away from the rising yellow tide, but they're all buckled in like that scene from The Thing. And they can only watch in horror as they too are infected with fetid water, a memory of fruity drinks past. Minutes later, your trousers are drying on the bonnet of the car, while your dad beats the absolute fuck out of you on the side of the M8 for everyone to see. You know, like when that happened to everyone and not just me. Anyway, the point I'm driving at is we all know how unpleasant it is to be forced to hold it in when you really have to go. And usually the reason we have to hold it in is just because we need to get home or to somewhere with a toilet. There is nothing to gain by holding it in, so it never goes awfully far, because worst comes to worst, there is always a bush to duck behind, an alleyway to go down, or a video game journalist about to give another pixel art indie Souls-like roguelike game a 7 out of 10. But what if it wasn't just embarrassment stopping you from peeing, but the promise of a reward? How long could you go without going? Well, in today's story, we figure out that perhaps when nature calls, it's best to pick up, lest the Grim Reaper call you next. Here is the story of a fun, innocent competition that very sadly had a deadly outcome. Hold your wee for a wee. Please leave a like and a comment on this video because it really helps me in the algorithm. But before we get started, a big thank you to Exter for sponsoring this video. Not content with inventing the first trackable wallet, Exter has made their product sleeker and slimmer than ever, taking up only half the pocket space of a conventional wallet while allowing you to access over 12 cards at the click of a button. And there's even space for cash. Exter wallets have built-in RFID blocking that helps protect you from data theft and wireless skimming. But Exter can also help protect your cards in the physical realm with this tracker. It can help you find your wallet anywhere in the world using Apple's Find My network. And you can even ring it up to 300 feet away from your iPhone, where it will scream at you at 75 decibels until you Marco Polo your way back to it. And the tracker is solar powered, so just 2 hours in the sun gives you 3 months of charge. So you will not need to touch grass for very long to keep your wallet safe. And you really would want to keep your Exter wallet safe, because in addition to containing all of your cards and cash, they're also just really nice looking. My personal favourite is the Parliament wallet, which is made of environmentally certified premium leather and comes in 6 colours. But if you want to get even sleeker and slimmer, or like sci-fi maxing, there is also the aluminium card holder, which is made of space-grade aluminium and has an expandable backplate, which you can grab in 14 different colours and patterns. So, if you want to grab yourself a snazzy wallet that doesn't crowd up your pockets while keeping your card data safe, you can do so while supporting my channel by clicking the link down in the description and using the code COUNTDANKULA to get 40% off of Exeter's wallets for Father's Day. But also, guess what? Using my code and clicking the link down in the description will get you an additional 5% discount on top of web sales. On behalf of all of my fellow dads, click the link. We pay for all of your stuff, so the least you can do is get us something cool to store our money in that you are always taking from us. It's pretty hard to overstate what a massive deal the Nintendo Wii was. Everyone had one. Even the fucking Queen had a golden one. Wii Sports, the game that came with the Wii, is the 4th best-selling video game of all time. Only beaten by Minecraft, which came out later, same deal with GTA 5. And the EA re-release of Tetris, which basically includes every copy of Tetris sold on every single gaming device and mobile phone on the planet. Oh yeah, Wii Sports is also the only game in the top 10 that is not multi-platform. It was only out for the Wii. Since November 19th, 2006, people all over the world have gotten up off of their couches and flailed their arms wildly to beat their gran at pretend tennis. So, with such a desirable home console, it makes perfect sense to offer it as a prize for some sort of wacky early 2000s shock jock radio contest. Enter KDND, a radio station ominously nicknamed 107.9 The End. On January 12, 2007, The End's morning show, The Morning Rave, decided to host a contest, with the top prize being a brand spanking new Nintendo Wii, which was, at the time, basically impossible to find in stores since the Christmas shopping rush had basically cleared any notion of motion controls from Walmarts, Kmarts, Targets and Best Buys nationwide. 18 contestants entered the studio for the challenge, after securing a place from a preliminary contest where listeners would call into the radio station and tell a story about the worst Christmas gift that they got that year. The real challenge, however, would be a lot more taxing than recounting the fact that your brother-in-law got you a Star Wars keychain for the 5th year in a row because you made an I am your father joke at his wedding and he just hasn't fucking let it go since. This true test of the Sacramento radio listening public would be elegantly titled, Hold Your Wii for a Wii. And the challenge would be pretty much what it says on the tin. The contestants were taken to a break room at the station at about 6:45 a.m. and they were given an 8-ounce bottle of water to drink, or about 240 millilitres for all of my metric enjoyers out there. The watering would then continue until morale improved, as every 15 minutes the contestants would have to drink another 8-ounce bottle of water. If you didn't drink the water fast enough, threw up, or gave in and went to the toilet, that was you were out. Contestants would be eliminated in this fashion until one reigned supreme, one bladder to hold them all. Seems simple enough, right? Well, you're right, but simple things are often deceptive. And there may be more to contend with than your balls filling up like a water balloon from pee. One woman who failed to see the potential dangers in this challenge was 28-year-old mother of 3, Jennifer Strange. She entered the competition hoping to win a Nintendo Wii for her children. And she must have loved her kids a whole lot because, as you will see, she drank a lot of water chasing that dream. During the contest, the radio hosts Adam Cox, Steve Maney and Patricia Sweet would take contestants out of the break room and into the main studio to interview them and check in on their progress. And during one of the interviews with Jennifer, you can tell that she wasn't doing well. She complained of a headache and feeling like she wanted to vomit. And one of the hosts commented that her belly was so distended from the water that she looked pregnant.
Jennifer, I heard that you're not doing too well.
My head hurts. They keep telling me that it's the water, that it'll tell my head to hurt and then it'll make me puke, but...
Who told you that, the intern?
Yeah.
That's one of those over there?
Like, it hurts, but it makes you feel lightheaded, so I'm not sure if I'm just like...
This is what it feels like when you're drowning. There's a lot of water inside of you.
Oh, it hurts.
Oh my gosh, look at her belly! Are you pregnant? Come on over, Jennifer. Are you okay? You want to lay down? What do you... She can't even walk. You're going to pass out right now. It's too much water.
Now, if I saw a woman who was not pregnant, but with the belly of a pregnant woman gained over the course of only 3 hours, I would maybe think that something was up. But the radio hosts actually seemed to find this funny. And the challenge continued. Eventually, Jennifer could take no more, throwing in the towel after drinking almost 2 gallons of water. Let's think about that number for a second. 2 gallons. That is about 7.6 litres of water drank over 3 hours. Now, those of you that watch Countdown and have those quick math skills might have figured out that 240 millilitres drank every 15 minutes over the course of 3 hours does not add up to 7.6 litres. And you are correct, gold star for you. This was because as the contest went on, and with the fact that the show could not go on forever, probably lingering in the back of the station executives' minds, they started ramping up the volume of water that contestants would have to drink over time. I just want you to picture that number again. 7.6 litres. According to the US National Academies of Sciences, Engineering and Medicine, the average woman should drink about 2.7 litres of water a day, which includes the water found in food and other beverages like fizzy drinks or coffee. Jennifer, at this point, had almost 3 times the recommended daily amount over the span of just 3 hours. And the worst part, well, the second worst part, as with pretty much all of my videos, the worst is still to come, but the second worst part is that Jennifer didn't even win the contest. She could not hold her wee for that wee, and she had to settle for the shame of the second place prize, concert tickets to go and see Justin Timberlake. Now, if anything is worth crying a river over, it's that. Piss me a river. So, she left the station, bringing Sexy back instead of a new console. But she called a co-worker before leaving, complaining of a very severe headache, and crying the entire time. The co-worker, obviously concerned for Jennifer's health, called Jennifer's mother to go in and check on her. And an hour later, Jennifer's mother walked into the house to find her daughter dead. Yeah, dead. Now, some of you might be shocked that you can die from drinking too much water, but that's because you haven't heard of a fun little condition called water intoxication, also known as hyponatremia. I'm not a doctor, so I'll be very brief with the description. But the basic idea is that all of the fluids in your body have a delicate balance of electrolytes in order to function properly. Most importantly, in Jennifer's case, sodium. Jennifer had basically drank so much water that she had diluted the amount of sodium in her body fluids outside of her cells to a far lower concentration than the sodium inside of her cells. And because of the nature of water, where it's always trying to balance out the mineral content with everything that it's touching, this caused the diluted fluids to flood into the cells in order to try and maintain the balance. Most importantly, it does this in the brain, creating pressure, thus the headaches. To an extreme enough degree, and Jennifer was experiencing an extreme degree, that this swelling can eventually cause your brain to crush its own brainstem or block blood flow, causing a cerebral edema. In both of those cases, death is very, very much on the cards. It's the same reason why ecstasy and MDMA users are told not to drink a lot of water and just to sip it slowly, because the drug greatly increases your risk of hyponatremia by causing that same imbalance in your blood. So, sadly for Jennifer, this resulted in a terrible tragedy. If only this was something more commonly known, perhaps this could have been avoided. Well, Therein lies the darker side to this story. The radio hosts not only knew beforehand that this was dangerous, but they actually laughed at the idea of the danger. In a twisted, this isn't my problem kind of way, not in a cool Puss in Boots the Last Wish kind of way. The radio hosts repeated multiple times that the contestants had signed waivers, and therefore it isn't their problem if anyone is seriously injured or dies during the contest. At one point, a man in the contest complained about wanting to throw up, and one of the hosts is very quick to interject a quip about making sure he had signed his waiver. They even discussed the tragic death of Matthew Carrington, a college student who died in a fraternity hazing incident in 2005, in which, among other things, he had to drink from a 5-gallon water jug that was constantly being refilled, until he took a seizure and ultimately succumbed to water intoxication. So they knew that this very thing they were doing was something that kills people, yet they had people doing it anyway. At one point, a nurse practitioner, a woman named Judy Linder, actually called into the show and told the hosts on the air that drinking that amount of water can kill you. To which the hosts just dismissively mentioned the fact that all of the contestants had signed a waiver, so they were not liable if they died.
Yeah, they sign releases, so we're not responsible. It's okay. And if they get to the point where they have to throw up, then they're going to throw up and they're out of the contest before they die. So that's good, right?
Oh, that's me. I suppose so.
Yeah. All right. How come you guys didn't do it?
Thanks for looking out, though. Because we don't want to die.
So the people running the contest knew it was dangerous. They even had concerned medical professionals calling in during the contest live on the air, telling them it was dangerous, and they even all knew a news story in recent memory of a young man dying from this exact same thing that they were now subjecting their contestants to. They pressed on with the contest and ignored all of the advice because they simply did not care. I can't stand the attitude of, oh, but my waiver's signed, oh, but no liability. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. That is the most irresponsible thing ever. To give an example, my British viewers will probably know about Go Ape. And for everybody else, it's like a really high up outdoor obstacle course thing where you put on helmets and harnesses and get tied to ropes and do children's playground activities, but like 50 feet off the ground. They make you sign a waiver. But they also have rigorous safety protocols and regular equipment checks. Imagine if they just put all of their monkey eggs in the ape waiver basket and sent you up the trees with a piece of string tied around your wrist and a shopping bag over your head. But ooh, you signed a waiver, so if you fall and die, it's not our fault. Your 5-year-old child, did you sign the waiver? Fuck it, send them up 50 feet with no safety gear. Not our problem anymore. No, that's not how it fucking works. That's not how waivers work. There would be an absolute fucking public outcry. And that's what this is. Just because you make someone sign a waiver does not mean that you can then suddenly, actively, and with full knowledge of the dangers, put them in harm's way. Like, if you know something is dangerous and can cause death, and you actively are sitting there encouraging them to go through with it, no. A waiver is not going to protect you from that. So, a mother of 3 is dead. And what is the fallout from this? Actually, quite a fucking lot, if you can imagine. On January the 15th, the homepage of the radio station's website showed a message regarding the tragedy and announcing the cancellation of the Morning Rave radio segment. And then the day after that, 10 employees, including the hosts, were all fired from the radio station altogether. As for restitution for the family, a criminal case was never filed because technically no crime had been committed. They hadn't waterboarded the contestants at Guantanamo Frequency 106.7 The Bay, featuring DJ Bush and his funky tunes against terror. All of the contestants were all there of their own free will. A civil wrongful death suit, however, was filed. And guess what? Suddenly those waivers weren't looking all too binding. On October the 29th, 2009, Entercom Sacramento, the parent company for the End radio station, was found to be 100% liable for the death of Jennifer Strange. And Strange herself was found to be 0% liable, meaning that she wasn't willfully negligent of the dangers present. The survivors of Jennifer Strange received a settlement of just over $16.5 million, which is nice to have, and it's nice to know that those responsible for your loved one's death have been punished in some way. But for weeks after the death of Jennifer Strange, her 3-year-old child would repeatedly ask when Mummy was coming home. There isn't a dollar amount that exists that could ever make up for that. Finally, on February the 2nd, 2017, the End ended. The station was shut down and all programming was being relocated to a sister station, with the last song ever played on the KDND airwaves being Bye 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 by NSYNC. Tastelessly reminding everyone that the real villain of this story is Justin Timberlake. So, what did we learn? Is there anything to learn? Perhaps we learned that a story that sounds funny, like person dies of pee, isn't actually all that funny when we peel back the layers. Perhaps we learned that people who try to pass off all responsibilities to waivers are ghoulish monsters who treat human life like Beat Takeshi treats an overweight middle-aged man in a spandex bodysuit. Or maybe we learned what we already knew, since morning DJs are part of radio news media, technically making them journalists. And journalists are evil.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube. Everybody just subscribe.